0-1 is hit out to deep center field. Jay going back. Oh, what a catch! Jay is back. Oh, what a play! Could be trouble. Jay makes the catch on the track. Jay is back at the wall. He's got it. What a big night. Jon Jay unloads into deep right. Back to back. Jon Jay.
Skaters on baseball.
Baseball saved my life.
I think we can do it.
I'm a ballpark nut.
NorCal needed a voice.
Let's get another shout out to Skaters on Baseball with Cooper and Schmidt. We got another one coming.
Welcome back to Skaters on Baseball, everybody. I'm Christian. I'm here with my partner Schmitty, and today we have a special guest of a magnitude we've never had before. We've got Major League player, World Series champion Jon Jay.
Jon Jay
was drafted by the Cardinals, came up in the organization. He's a rookie in 2010, and 2011 he's hoisting the World Series trophy. So let's bring Jon in here and talk to him. Good morning, Jon. How you doing?
Morning.
What's up, fellas? Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah.
So we know that you're a skateboarder, and we saw your little barracks piece when you were out here in LA. And I just got to know, was the skateboard first or was the baseball first for you?
I think the skateboarding and baseball came hand in hand. I think the first time I got on the board, I think I was like 2 years old or something like that. My dad put me on the board when I was young. But, growing up, I always loved skating. But, I grew up in Miami, Florida, in a Cuban culture. And, every turn you made, there was a baseball field. We didn't really have any parks and stuff like that growing up. So, I stuck to more baseball.
Today's September 26, 2024. It marks the final game of the A's playing at home. Just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that because we're Bay Area boys. We're obviously Giants fans, but I don't want to see the team leave and the way it's going down and stuff. What are your thoughts, and do you have any memories of playing in the Oakland Coliseum?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, I just remember, back in the 80s when, my first manager was Tony Russo when he was, having so much success in Oakland, and Ricky Henderson and Mark McGwire and all those guys. So, there's so much history with the A's and Oakland, it's connected. So, it's unfortunate that this is going on. But, playing there, it was always a tough place to play, though. In the outfield, it's super bright. There's a lot of space out there. But, it's a beautiful park. I always, the weather was always great when we played out there. But, I don't have too many memories on the field there, but I think we won a series there in 2014 when I was in St. Louis. So I'll remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, 2014 was a big year for you.
Yeah, it was a fun one. It was a fun one until we lost to your Giants,
Yeah.
Travis Ishikawa hits one into right. The Giants win the pennant.
We were lucky
Ishikawa.
though. Yeah, we got to see you up close, man. You played some stellar defense in that series. You robbed a lot of hits from a lot of Giants, and we were like, "Damn, this guy!"
Panik shoots one into right center. Jay on the run is there for out number 2.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I have a lot of good memories. Not so good memories there, but I remember those playoff atmospheres there. It was unbelievable in Giant Stadium. 2012 we were up 3-1 and we collapsed and didn't pull through. And then of course the Giants won the World Series, and then in 2014 they ended our season as well. But it was always a great atmosphere and a good little rivalry we had there for a little bit.
Yeah, those series were exciting, really exciting.
Yeah, talk about, because you played the majority of your career with St. Louis, right? Talk about what that city's like as a baseball town, because it just seems like it breathes baseball, yeah?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like I said, I grew up in Miami. Didn't know much about the history of the game, growing up and whatnot, but I got drafted by the Cardinals and just started learning about, Lou Brock and Red Cheney and Stan Musial and all these legends. So I remember being in spring training and I got to meet all these guys. So, I'm hanging out with Lou Brock, having conversations with him, and I got to meet Stan Musial early in my career. So that was pretty cool, just the history of the organization. Then, of course, when I get called up there, you have a Hall of Fame players in Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina and all these, absolute studs. So it was awesome for me. But the city's amazing for baseball. Everywhere you go, everyone's in Cardinal red, and it just represents so much there. And I actually, so I live in between Miami and St. Louis, so I spend a lot of time in St. Louis still as well. My wife's from there, so I get involved in the community there, and I've actually gotten to meet a lot of skaters from the community there, which is pretty cool.
So you're coaching now for the Miami Marlins, right? You're the first base coach. And Schmitty and I, we're aging skateboard guys now, and we sort of work in and around the industry. Schmitty works at Thrasher Magazine, obviously, and I've been doing graphics for Deluxe Distribution in San Francisco since the 90s. It's sort of a transition away from being competitive or being active in the sport, like skateboarding every day and really going after it, to moving into more of like an industry type role. And so it's more about keeping that involvement. And I'm just curious if you feel that same way about baseball. You were a major league player and now you've sort of transitioned into coaching. And is it just one of those things where your entire life you're going to want to be involved in the game in some way?
Yeah, it's definitely different. And I mean, for me, baseball gave me so much. I say baseball saved my life, right? Like if it wasn't for baseball, who knows what would have happened in my life. So, I love the game. It's done so much for me. So, I didn't know if I was going to coach right away or what I was going to do. I always knew it was kind of, going to be in my trajectory, or it was a passion of mine, but, kind of happened quick for me, which I'm very grateful for. But, I enjoy it. And, I just enjoy pushing the game forward and taking all the knowledge that I learned and all the teammates that I had and just passing it along to the next generation and trying to, continue to make the game better and better and better. So that's really my passion now. You don't get the same rush as going out there in Giant Stadium and making plays now for they're standing in the batter's box. But it is fun when I see, the players that I'm coaching have success, or, when the team's having success. Like, last year was an unbelievable year for us. Got to go on the playoff run. Obviously this year's been a little bit different, but, for me, I love the game. It's given me so much, and I hope to do this for a little bit longer, hopefully, day to day.
Awesome.
I'm friends with Scuba Steve, who said that he talks to you kind of regularly. Maybe does he send you shoes?
I've been blessed a couple of times, which is unbelievable. So it's funny. So that's how I saw you guys. So he had reposted you guys the other day, and I just clicked, gave you guys a follow, and just started kind of seeing what was going on, and then that's kind of how all this happened. So he's the one for making the connection right there.
Yeah, I was fired up because Salba, legendary pool skater, his son was on our podcast, and then I think that he's like a big deal in certain areas, and I think that reached out, and then Scuba was kind of promoting us, and then I saw your follow. I was like, wait, if he's following us, maybe he's down. Let's get him on.
No, that's cool. And that's been great, man. With the internet nowadays, it's so cool to be able to just connect with people from everywhere and stuff. And honestly, for me, like, I grew up playing every sport, but and I love all sports, but I don't really, pay attention as much now to, just to major sports. And really, I follow skateboarding more than I do anything else that I do now. So it's pretty cool.
Awesome.
How do you follow it?
So I've been lucky. So Randy Plosier was a St. Louis local. He's kind of my guy that got me going again when I got done playing and just skating with him and stuff. And then just, I started researching during the pandemic. I would, just get on the internet and just start learning the history of just different brands and companies and how things went down. But doing a little bit of that, and then it was pretty cool. I got to meet Tyler Peterson. He's also a St. Louis local. So I actually went to his Battle of the Barracks finals 2 years ago in the summer, that was unbelievable to be in an arena like that and to see that go down. And, he almost won. He lost to Sewa in the finals, but that was pretty cool to see him out there. And, I've just been able to connect with people, in the industry. And, whenever I go to cities, I try to check out local parks, local skate shops, and on my free time, and just make those connections.
Sweet.
I was looking around your vault Instagram, and I saw that you got a little bit of a skateboard collection going. I'm just curious, first of all, how many boards do you have, and can you tell us what some of your favorite ones are?
Oh man, I got a bunch of boards. I can't name exactly how many, but I got a bunch of boards. I think my favorite boards, I have a set that Element did a couple years back. I think this was around like 2018, and then they did all the teams. So I got all the teams that I played for with that. And then, like I said, when I go to local shops, I try to pick up their boards or whatnot and stuff like that. But I got some of the Strange Love boards, which are pretty cool. And then, anytime I meet a skater or whatnot, I try to, pick up their board. And then, eventually I want to get all these boards signed from guys that I've gotten to meet and, have these connections with or whatnot. So it's pretty cool. What do I think? I usually skate. So it's funny. I actually, when Deshaun Jordan was on Toy Machine, I ordered some Deshaun boards, and then they sent me. It was like this 875, and I'm a bigger dude, so I started skating those. And then right now I've been skating the Tim Johnson Strange Love board, so it's 875. So that's what I've been sticking with there. But just try to collect anytime boards come out with like team graphics or stuff like that. I try to pick those up or whatnot. So
Nice.
Is there or has there ever been any concern from your peers about you skating during baseball season or anything like that?
Well, as a player, I didn't really, do it much. I would have like a little longboard with me and, something safe where I knew I could cruise and nothing was going to happen. But I wasn't, dropping in on stuff or hitting parks or stuff like that. At the end of my career, once I got my 10 years of service, I kind of started exploring it a little bit more. So that was kind of fun where I was still playing. And I mean, I was on the Angels in 21 and I drive up in the mornings to Venice and hit the park in the morning, then head to Angel Stadium after. But I always kept it safe. I was I knew what my profession was and what took care of me. And then now that I got done and I'm on the coaching side, I push it a little bit more, but I don't try to get too crazy. I try to stay in my realms. I wish I was could do all the things and go back to being 13, but really send it and do some crazy stuff. But I try to keep it simple.
Yeah, it gets tough when you get a little older, and for us, it hurts a little more now than it used to.
If Nike comes up with an unlimited budget and says you could take 3 skaters with you and go anywhere you want, what type of thing comes to mind for you?
Oh man, I'm taking P-Rod just because he's been doing it so long, and he's the guy. Man, this is gonna be tough. Deshaun Jordan, I just love what he's been doing and just his vibe, and just a great dude and really just keeps pushing it. So those 2 right there. Are
you thinking you would keep it domestic? Would you go international? Is there some place?
International for sure. I've been wanting to go on a Europe trip so bad. Probably Barcelona. It looks so cool. Yeah, but I can't. It's hard for me to get away with 3 kids, and I'm locked in during the season. So I got to pick and choose my spots carefully. And I think the last guy probably would be Ishad. I'll take Ishad with me too as well. So
but that's a tough list, man.
It's tough. It's tough. There's so many great skaters out there, and it's super dope.
So you have some kids, and I think you mentioned in the Barracks video that you were getting them into skating. Are they sticking with it, or do they kind of move off into other things? Or
yeah, my girls are 7, so they can push, which is pretty cool, And then now I'm just kind of letting them figure out what they want to do. But we definitely keep boards around, and we'll go push around and stuff like that. And my son, he's 3.5, and since I had him on a board since he was, a month old, just holding him up. But he can balance pretty well, and he's starting to just try to push on his own, which, now that the season will be over soon, I'll have more time at home. So that's going to be one of the things this offseason to get him pushing on his own. But they love it. And, for the girls, it's been great with Sky Brown. They would watch her YouTube and just they loved everything that she would do. But, they in their minds are 7, but they'll say they're going to be skaters one day too, which is pretty cool.
That's great.
The girls are stepping it up. It's been really cool to see in the last 5 or 6 years. They've really escalated. And Sky Brown, Lizzie Armano, a lot of these girls have just become these iconic for the girls to look forward to, oh, I can do it too, And I think there's less heckling and stuff like that. I think, we come from a different generation where people were not so nice all the time. And I think that's changing as well. So, hey, I got a guilty pleasure, I guess you would call it, and a situation where we're going to stoke you out a little bit. But I got these two cards that you signed. I'm a baseball card collector. And I got a question for you. As an older person, a lot of different players seem to only want to sign for kids. And I don't understand that. And it seems like it's more of the younger, Brett Beatty and these superstar reputations that their first year they're already the guy, and they only want to sign for kids. And I don't know if it's because they think we're adults, we're going to make money off them. What's your perspective? Have you ever collected? What do you think about signing for people and all that?
Yeah, I try to keep it. I try to sign for everybody. It's just a bad stigma sometimes where literally everywhere we go, there'll be people outside the hotel and then at the field. So the thing that gets me, if I see you at the hotel and I sign for you, then I see you at the field again. So that kind of throws it off for everybody, right? Where guys like yourself that are true fans, true collectors, and want to get guys autographs. And so it kind of ruins it with the other guys that do sell, because there has been plenty of times where you sign something and you look on eBay in an hour and it's up there already, right? So that's kind of the stigma that's happened. But, it's up to guys just to kind of recognize that and be taught how to do it the right way. But, obviously kids is the easiest one. And then I always try to look at guys' shoes, right? When I'm signing, I'll look at people's shoes and I'll kind of remember that. And then when I go back, because people change their shirts or their hats or something, but they'll keep the same shoes on. So you look down, you see the shoes and oh, I've seen you before. And it's just being about for yourself, just being honest with them. Hey guys, this is for me. I'm collecting for me. You can sign it to me or whatnot. So that's kind of happens. And then as far as collecting, I collected all my cards. We didn't really get them sent, so I just go on eBay and like try to look up lots or whatnot. And then I used to love trying to get my printing plates. That was kind of the thing that I'll try to do is get printing plates. So those are pretty cool. But I have all my cards and stuff, and it's cool to show my kids now to like, you know, try to show them that you know, Dad kind of did something before, you know, because they're young, they don't grasp it. But I think, you know, showing them me on a card is like, wow, Dad has a baseball card. It's pretty cool. So.
Do you have a favorite? Is your rookie card your favorite, or is there a different one that has a great photo that you're really liking? Or
yeah, I think you had it up there. It's I'm making a catch in the playoffs against the
this
wall.
one?
Yeah, that one right there. And Tony Russo's face is right there, which is pretty cool. So that was in the playoffs. That was one of my, you know, best catches in my career.
Oh
right there.
yeah,
So
La Russa's right there on the. That's
yeah,
pretty classic.
That was pretty cool. And then, funny enough, on the mound with Joe Kelly, who also he skated as a kid, and he could really get it in. You know, grew up in Southern California, but he's like, I could cruise and I could do a couple things here and there, but like these guys are like, he really got after it when he was a kid, and it was pretty gnarly out there. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. Okay.
Are there any other guys that you know about that do that? I mean, we know that Lorenzen wears custom Vans when he's pitching. So I'm just curious what other guys
I think when I was playing in my era, there weren't many guys that skated as kids and stuff. But I think nowadays you're finding out a lot more. Like I'll talk to kids because I take my board everywhere with me, and a lot of players are like, oh, I used to skate when I was younger. You know, then baseball took over and whatnot. But I think it's like we talked about that kind of like, you know, before it was like, you know, if you skated like you stuck in that circle, and then now, you know, kind of everything's open and everything's intertwining, which is pretty cool. With, you know, like, you know, traditional sports, you know, mixing it with skateboarding and all that. So it's cool just to see everything growing together, which is pretty cool.
I might have a little biased, but I was wondering what you're for. If you got the Mount Rushmore of stadiums, which 4 stadiums in baseball are the best for you?
All right, so Busch Stadium's number 1. Number 2 is Wrigley Field, which is unbelievable. Let's see, what other parks do I love? I mean, Yankee Stadium's incredible. You walk in there and just like, wow, this is pretty cool. You know, Fenway's amazing too. I love Giants Park, but I mean, they're all cool. They all have their perks and stuff, which is pretty cool. But I think those 4 would be the top for me. St. Louis for sure, and then Wrigley Field's just awesome. And I remember when I was a Cardinal, you know, it was a huge rivalry, and you know, batting practice is it's a day game, so batting practice is like 11:30, and the stadium's packed, and everyone's just yelling at you. It was pretty fun. And then I got to do it on the other side and play for the Cubs, which is unbelievable. I mean, they have great fans as well, so I kind of got to see both sides of the rivalry, which is pretty cool.
Damn. You guys still have the fish tank in your stadium?
No, I wish we did. That thing was pretty cool, but that thing's gone. And I do like our park a lot. I think our park's pretty cool. You know, it's spacious. It's you know, you're in a dome. You have the beautiful skyline of Miami in the background. I think our stadium's pretty cool as well. It's been pretty cool. Like I got to go like to the World Baseball Classic there and like the Caribbean World Series, and it's like unbelievable. Like that's. I mean, for me, it's a crazier vibe than a World Series. It's unbelievable with the, you know, the Latin culture and the influence. So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of those WBC games, and really exciting baseball, really different, but just so much fun to watch, and just seeing like the way the fans were interacting with those games. I mean, they're crazy, like soccer fans almost, just going nuts. So it's cool
they get
to
a
see.
huge following. It's super cool. Yeah, I actually got to play in Venezuela in 2009. So I hadn't been called to the big leagues yet, and it was just one of the most unbelievable experiences ever. For 6 weeks, I lived out there and played, and just like, you know, every day was like, every game was like the World Series. It was unbelievable. It was one of the, you know, cooler experiences of my life. You know, it's kind of like, you know, going to skate overseas and just, you know, check out the world.
Yeah, Caruco is always talking about some of his fondest memories are playing winter ball in Puerto Rico. That it was just so like baseball, and everyone's stoked on it, and you're walking around town and it's just like that vibe and stuff. I always was thinking about going to Puerto Rico or like the Dominican or something for like those winter ball. Seems like it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, Dominican, man, let me know whatever you need. I got you out there. Yeah, so it's super cool. Yeah, it's a really good experience to check that out for sure.
Rad.
You're World Series champ, and it's your second year in the league. And I mean, what is that like to win a World Series? I mean, what is the feeling? Do you feel like this is not really happening? It's a surreal experience, or is it just one of those things where you guys are on that run to the championship, and it just feels like, it's going to happen? Yeah,
I mean, we went on an unbelievable run, but I think, you know, I've been lucky my whole life, from high school to college. to getting drafted by St. Louis, where like winning was expected. Like that was a standard. So my whole life I didn't know anything better. So I know how fortunate I was to win my second year. But for me, it was like this is what we do. This is what this is how how I go about my business. This is what it's all built for. But I always was humble in the fact of knowing how hard it was. But now when I look back at it, I'm like, man, that was unbelievable. Like that's crazy. Now you can sit back and kind of reflect on my career and things like that. Like it was just it's something that changed my life forever, right? And it just continues to, the more, I mean, it's been 13 years now, and it's still so cool to see, to get recognized by that and just know that I was able to be part of history. And then the biggest thing too for me is like the group of guys I got to deal with is unbelievable. I mean, Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina, Chris Carpenter, Rafael Furcal. I mean, it was unbelievable. Just those guys that were on the team. So that's something that I look back and I'm like, man, I was a youngster with like these stud veterans that were like, all-stars and Hall of Famers. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it must be an amazing feeling. I mean, it's for fans when the Giants won the first one in 2010, is like, I had goosebumps. I was crying. I couldn't believe it. I called my dad. I said, I didn't think I was even going to live to see a world championship in San Francisco. That's how we were going, and the emotions of that. And I'm thinking, like, what about the guys that just won it? What are they feeling? Right? It's hard to even grasp. So I was just curious about it.
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I had another one was, so I know you guys got Gabe Kapler over there. He was with the Giants. And I've been struggling with, because I'm an older guy, the change from the old school philosophy to the analytics. And where do you stand on that? Like for the Giants, I feel like, and I you probably can't talk on that too much, but like the Giants just do lefty righty all the time. And in my brain, it's like, why isn't just the best guy out there? Like, these guys can hit lefties. Like, let them, like, why are we putting in a right-handed batter against a left-handed pitcher that's not as good? How do you look, I mean, being a coach and stuff, how do you look at like analytics versus the old school way of just teaching baseball and going with your gut and fundamentals and all that?
I'm just curious if you know the distinction.
Yeah, so I think it's just a blend, and that's something that I've had to evolve in, right? Like I came up in a super old school era where there wasn't much information, but most of the information that analytics is providing, we would kind of do it on our own, right? We do our own research. Like I'd study hitter swings, and I'd watch the pitcher, and so a lot of that information I would do myself. Nowadays with analytics, it provides us that information, a lot easier access to it. But with that, it's just, it all comes down to your personnel on your team, right? Where like you said, lefty righty matchups, if the righty pitcher is, he struggles against left-handed pitching. So there are a lot more matchups there just because there's a lot more data out there. But at the end of the day, you have to, just have a mix of everything, right? You have to use your gut. You have to use analytics. You got to see, like you said, the guy that you're pinch hitting for might have, he might have 4 hits in the game or whatnot. So I think a lot of it is just, it's feel, right? It's just going off of feel, taking the information you have and then trying to make the best decision with it. So, and that's something that, honestly, on the coaching side is something that I've been learning a lot about, just, taking the information and which information I want to use and then how I want to use it, which is the tricky part.
Do you guys, as the Marlins, like Shoemaker probably makes most of those decisions, or like how do you guys kind of go about, let's say the other team brings in a lefty to face your best lefty, like do you automatically replace him with a righty, or is it a situational thing?
Yeah, it's a situational thing, and he does an unbelievable job of preparing, and he's, one of his greatest, tools with him is, he lets us do our job, right? I'm the first base coach, and I'm in charge of base running with the third base coach, and he lets us run that, right? Like if we have something on a pitcher or we think we could steal, like he lets us do our thing. And the same thing with the hitting department. So, he'll check in with different departments and just, ask them their opinion, and then, obviously he's going to make the final opinion as a manager, but we have meetings before games of as far as like, hey, we know, they have a lefty reliever that's going to come in the 8th inning probably, and we have a left-handed batter. We'll kind of have an idea of, who's going to get pinch hit for, who's going to not going to, just from, historical numbers or what we've seen, so far. But there are times where you make a good decision of you'll think like, this lefty is a good matchup for our lefty. And, there's so much information with like swing planes and pitches and different things. So it's kind of cool when you break all these things down and, go make the decision with that.
Yeah, technology is insane. I was at the Giants game early watching batting practice. They have all these cameras like with iPads, and the guy does his swings, then he goes and grabs the iPad and can see exactly what he was doing right and wrong. Like, it's insane, like, us versus probably even just 10, 15 years ago. Like, this has just been like, whoa, all the benefits. Because I always struggle with baseball being such a game that's based on, like, you know, statistics, right? So it's like, when they're talking about bringing in the fences or changing these rules with pitching and stuff, they want to see more home runs. But, like, is that fair to the game? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like these guys before that have these records, and then if somebody, like, has it easier, it kind of seems like it's not fair.
Yeah, you know, the game's always changing and evolving with the rules and different things like that. So it is weird with records with, you know, like, you know, looking back and saying like, well, this guy would have had these rules, he would have done this or would have done that. But I think that's the kind of the beauty of sports, right? The debates that we have, you know, behind the scenes and stuff like that. But, you know, it's like all sports, you know, things change. It's like, you know, it's like life. So, you know, we keep adjusting, we keep going with it. But, you know, I think the game's in a pretty good spot right now. We've seen the popularity rising the last couple of years. And I think it's exciting. We see the athletes. I mean, these guys are unbelievable. They're throwing 100 and, you know, everyone looks like, you know, everyone can hit a home run pretty much, right? Like, I watch guys in batting practice now and like everyone's hitting the ball at the park. I'm like, dude, I couldn't do that it took me a while to be able to do that if I wanted to. So it's kind of cool to see all that. And then, you know, that's what I look forward to. You know, I like, you know, look forward to, you know, helping these kids that have, you know, all this talent and all these tools and just kind of, you know, breaking down some of the simpler things, the fundamentals and the things that it takes to win a ball game. Because at the end of the day, you know, that's what you're trying to do is win a championship.
Yeah. Fundamental baseball is like as a fan, when you're not seeing the fundamentals get done correctly, it's so frustrating, you know. Especially as a coach. The coach is the same thing. We get guys sometimes you're like, whoa, you're scratching your head. Like, what's going on here? But I bet.
How complex, without giving it away, are these signals? Like, all that stuff. Like, how many different, like, obviously there's a steal sign, a bunt sign, maybe there's a hit and run sign. How many signs are there and how complex is that? Like, is it pretty, like, if I told you, you'd be surprised how simple it is, or is it a little tricky?
It can be complex or it could be simple. I mean, it could be a simple, it just depends really. But honestly, like you said, like there's not many signs that are given, right? You're going to bunt, you're going to hit and run, or you're going to steal. But a lot of times signs come from the dugout. So, you know, a coach can be given a special, you know, you have 6 coaches on the bench, so I could be looking at one coach and he might be giving me a signal that signifies something. And then a lot of times, you know, I'll kind of know something beforehand, right? Like it'll be scripted where like, hey, if this guy gets on, you know, maybe second pitch, be ready for a hit and run, right? So things like that. And then a lot of times guys are told in the dugout already where like, it's like, hey, this guy gets on first pitch, hit and run, let's go. So, you know, things are a lot simpler as far as like, you know, signs and stuff like that. But, and if you watch the games now, you see like, there's not a lot of bunting going on. There's not a lot of hit and run going on. So it's kind of rare. And then you kind of know your personnel, right? So I'll know a guy that's hitting. I'm like, all right, this guy's a candidate to hit and run. So I can be really paying attention to what's going on. But it's not too complex, but you know there are a bunch of different other signs, right? You know, first and third situation, and there's 2 outs. Like if you steal second, are you going to go home from third, or are you going to stop, or whatnot? So that's when the game gets fun, and you know that's something that last year was kind of like, you know, this is my second year now, so last year a lot of things were new to me on the coaching side. As far as a player, it's a lot different. So it's been fun just kind of doing all those things and you know getting better and improving with all that stuff.
Are there players where your job is much easier because you just kind of let them do what they're going to do once they get to first base, and certain guys that you trust, like, hey, if he's going to steal, he's going to steal. I'm just going to let him have it.
For sure. We'll game plan on pitchers that we want to steal against, and you know I'll go over what we're looking for and whatnot. And you know I have my guys that you know through experience that you see they're like, all right, this guy I don't have to say anything, just go out there and roll. And then you have other guys that are younger that you just you know you have to talk to them more. But the goal is to eventually you know my goal is to sit back and relax and just say, hey, you guys go play. So and that's what we work for every day, right? We're trying to develop that relationship, develop that trust, so that these guys can go out there and just play baseball, which is my goal for them.
What comes to mind to me is Ellie De La Cruz, but like, do you have you seen any young guys that you're just like, holy smokes, this guy's a notch? Like he's gonna, you know, J-Rod or any of these guys that are like, you know, they're on the cover of the boxes of video games and stuff like that. You're like, you know, we already know Ohtani and Judge. These guys have already made their way, but like, is there the younger guy that you're like, man, if the Marlins could get him, he's so phenomenal?
Yeah, well, I think one guy that's just having one of those type of years, and for the team he's on, is Mark Vientos with the Mets. I mean, without him playing third base, defensively and hitting the way he is, I don't think they'd be where they're at. So that's a young guy that I think has stepped it up in a big atmosphere and really shown what type of player he could be in the future. So that he's pretty cool to see. Bobby Witt, I saw it early. You saw him play early, even last year when he wasn't hitting 300 or whatnot. Like, you could just tell this guy he's on a different level. Like, he's pretty special. I'm trying to think of other guys that are kind of under the radar. I think the Nationals have some young guys that are going to be pretty good. That James Wood kid's going to be pretty good. Just watching him in spring training and seeing what he's been able to do now. Trying to think of what I got. Oh, I like Pete Crow Armstrong, what he's doing defensively. I think he's going to really just be really, really good out there and special for a long time. From what I've seen in center field so far from him. But I'd have to really think about this question. But those are just a couple off the top of my head right now.
No, that's good. Yeah, I like knowing about the under. You see the guys that are on ESPN every day, and I think it is a little biased with the East Coast. Like, they don't tend to have the West Coast on as much, except for now that Ohtani's on the Dodgers. He's in every feed and stuff. But, I was at the River Cats game, the AAA team, last weekend for the last game of the year, and I did not remember when the guy threw a ball or a strike and the batter challenged the call. And I literally yelled out loud, "Wait, they can do that?" Like, what do you think about that? Is that something you want to see in the pros, or is that going too far?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, but that's a BBS system, so I think they get one challenge a game, each batter, I guess.
Yeah, and it's really quick. It doesn't take too much time.
Yeah, so I think we'll see what's going to happen. I think this offseason is going to be pretty interesting to see what rules get added as far as, like, different things like that. But we've seen that in the minor leagues for a couple of years, and usually what happens is they'll test some stuff out in the minor leagues and then bring it to the major leagues. So we'll see what happens, and this stuff kind of happens quick. It was like the pitch clock. It was like from one day to the next we had the pitch clock.
Yeah.
It was kind of chaotic, but we've seen it's been working, and games are quicker, and then guys are kind of gotten used to it like that. But yeah, it is interesting. I haven't been a part of the BBS system in an actual game, but I've heard some things from it. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I can totally disagree with is the second base runner in extra innings. I hate that.
Yeah, that definitely makes the game go faster, and it saves you on pitching, which is it's good. And honestly, what would happen before is you go to extra innings, and a young pitcher would have to throw 4 or 5 innings, and then next thing you know, he gets sent out, and you have to make roster moves. So I think it's been good for guys can stick around a little bit longer, and teams aren't forced to make that roster move where before kind of would screw some guys with service time and getting them sent down and stuff like that. So I think it's been pretty cool of that. So yeah, actually. I was my last year I was in Salt Lake, so we went to Sacramento. We played out there, so it was pretty cool. And then I got to go. I remember I went to PLA skate shop out there, and then there's a skate park kind of near downtown by the hotel and all that stuff. So it was pretty cool.
PLA is the hype. Miles was skater of the year. He's from up there.
Yeah.
Well, cool. You guys got a day game today, huh?
No, we got a night game today. Yeah, we got a rare night game getaway day. Yeah, so we finished off in Toronto for our last series after today. Cool.
What's the off season look like for you? Are you chilling, or are you like just what do you do?
I'm doing a little bit of both. So I'm actually in school. I have 5 credits left to graduate from the University of Miami.
Nice.
So I'll be back in Monday nights. I have class Monday nights, and then my other class is online. So I'll be doing that. I'll be hanging with the family, and then take a couple trips here and there. That's pretty much it. But just try to hang with the family. Try to skate a little bit more than I do now at home. Try to hit at Lot 11, our local park, a little bit more. And then we've actually built. It's pretty cool in Miami. Just we have Lot 11 obviously, and then now they built another one, Doral Skate Park, and then there's Skatebird as well. So we've been having some parks pop up everywhere, which is pretty cool.
Did you ever get into the Lil Wayne training facility? I know you had a little skate zone.
I haven't. I got to get out there. I haven't been out there. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Yeah, that's super sweet. So
yeah. Well, Christian, you got anything else?
No, I think we're good. I don't want to take any more of your time. I know you got a game today, and thanks so much for coming on with us, man. It's a real honor.
Yeah, no problem. No, I'm all good, man. I got some. I'm actually gonna head up over to Familia after this and go hang out there for a little bit. So
nice.
Hit the shop and hit the park a little bit. So it'll be cool.
Oh, okay. Nesser's shop, huh?
Yeah,
Nesser's sister married the singer for Green Day.
All right, cool. All right, I did not know that.
Say what's up from us.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, we appreciate you taking the time. It's been awesome.
Of course, man. Of course, dude.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thanks, John.
And Jay hits it a ton down the right field line. Gone!
Thanks for listening to this episode of Skaters on Baseball. If you liked what you heard, please spread the word, give us a good review, or hell, blow us up on your social media if you're down. Follow us at Skates on Base on Instagram for baseball news and other fun stuff. We love comments and listener participation, so bring it with an audio clip or an email. You can email us at skatersonbase@gmail.com. We're everywhere you get your podcasts, and we'll be here all season long.
Let's go, San Francisco. Let's go, Giants.
I'm excited to give everything that I have for these next 6 seasons and, see where it takes us.
They can't say it anymore, Complete game, shutout, no hitter, leave me alone.
See you soon. Thank you.
And I am forever a Giant.